Hi, welcome to our video entitled The Loranda System for Marketing Farm Real Estate. In the next few minutes, we are going to discuss the approach that the Loranda Group takes after a landowner contacts us about selling their property. It's important to note that successful real estate transactions don't just happen. They are carefully planned to ensure that the goals and objectives of the owner are met. Loranda provides a complete, thorough, and professional service beginning with the initial consultation and continuing through closing. Our attention to detail sets us apart from the competition and makes our clients confident that the sale of their land is being properly handled. In order for you to better follow our presentation, we would encourage you to hit the pause button and then download the file called The Loranda Approach to Selling Real Estate, which can be found by clicking on the link underneath the like button. Please understand that in today's offering, we will not be discussing the various sale types that you can use when selling a farm, which would be the brokerage, auction, and sealed bid methods. However, you can learn more about the advantages and disadvantages of these three sale types by viewing our instructional video entitled Farmland Marketing Alternatives on the Loranda YouTube channel. After you're done watching today's presentation, you may have additional questions or wish to speak with a Loranda representative. If so, please feel free to contact us at your convenience. The first phase of our marketing system begins with the initial client consultation. Sometimes this first meeting is face-to-face, though it can also be over the telephone or via email. We have three goals in the first phase. 1, discuss the client's property. 2, discuss the client's goals for selling. And 3, discuss the marketing services that Loranda offers. Now let's look at each of these three areas individually. Before we can make any recommendations, we need to know as much as possible about the property. Information that we typically ask about at this juncture includes the number of acres in the farm and a description of any improvements, the exact location of the parcel including a legal description if available, the status of any existing leases, including the type of lease and when it expires, the physical features that comprise the tract. In other words, does the farm consist of tillable acres, wooded acres, pasture land, or a combination of all three? And finally, what is the ownership history of the property? Is it acreage that has just recently been acquired, or has it been in the family for several generations? We next want to determine if the landowner has any specific goals, preferences, or requirements with the sale. Examples of these preferences might include, is there a specific time frame that must be met for receiving the sale proceeds? Is there a particular method of sale, either brokered, auction, or sealed bid, that is preferred? What are the price expectations and how are they determined? Is there a specific reason for selling that might be important as part of the transaction? And lastly, are there any other considerations that must be factored in that might impact the sale? After we have learned about the client's property and their goals, the final step in this initial phase is to discuss the services that Loranda provides. This not only includes an overview of the various sale methods that Loranda uses, but also a brief history of the company and its principles. We believe that it's important for the client to know that the firm they are working with has the experience and expertise to address and solve any problems that might crop up during the sales process, starting with the initial consultation and continuing through the closing. During the second phase of the Loranda real estate marketing system, the emphasis shifts to developing a workable marketing plan that will help achieve the goals of the seller. Creating a successful marketing plan will involve thoroughly investigating and incorporating three different components into the final decision. 1, the characteristics of the property being sold. 2, the needs or goals of the seller. And 3, the strength or demand for land in the area where the property is located. Researching the subject acreage itself is called property due diligence. This integrates information obtained from public sources regarding the tract with what can be learned from an on-site visit. Public information can generally be obtained from the county courthouse, the Soil Conservation Service, and the local farm service agency, which administers all the government farm programs. An actual site visit allows us to look at the condition of any improvements and become familiar with the topography and the drainage. Although we have already talked with the seller regarding a few basic facts about the property, additional client due diligence is typically warranted. Confirming the status of the current farm lease, the mineral rights, and any title issues are important, as is discussing the existence of any environmental hazards. Finally, it's important to verify who has the legal right to sign any documents for the owner. Having learned the hard way, the person spearheading the sale of the property may not be the person who has the actual authority to make the final decision. The final component we analyze before making any recommendations is what the buyer demand for land near the subject property may be. This phase is referred to as market due diligence. We start by getting information regarding recent local comparable sales so that we can provide an educated opinion as to what the property may ultimately sell for. In many counties, details of sale transactions can be obtained from public sources at the courthouse, but we also like to talk with area lenders and appraisers to see if there are any unusual factors that might be affecting property values. While at the courthouse, we also like to confirm the zoning on the property, which will assist us in determining what the highest and best use for the acreage may be. Finally, we try to see if there are any localized customs or traditions that might be important to consider, including the preference and use of one sale type over another. Our next step is to prepare a written marketing proposal for the landowner that details what we learned while completing our property, client, and market due diligence. Our report details the marketing steps that we would recommend and not only explains what we plan on doing, but how we plan on doing it. Unfortunately, there are many real estate firms that provide no details of what they intend to do, and they simply ask you to trust them. That approach might be acceptable if you were selling a $25 couch, but when you have a farm property worth millions of dollars, you need more than trust. This is especially true when discussing what the property might sell for. Have them provide evidence of recent sale transactions so you know they aren't just puffing the price in order to get your business. In our marketing proposal, we further discuss and address the following topics. We define who the likely buyers, also known as target markets, will be, which helps when deciding where and how to advertise the property. We make a specific recommendation regarding which sale type, either brokerage, auction, or sealed bid, will likely generate the most amount of money for the seller given their goals. We provide maps describing how we divide the acreage into smaller units if necessary, along with maps that show the comparable sale information that we use to estimate the likely sale price. We provide an estimated timeline for the transaction so you know what we plan on doing and when. We outline the proposed marketing steps that we plan on utilizing to promote the sale, which would include a combination of conventional media and internet advertisements, signage, a detailed brochure, press releases, mass mailings to specific targeted buyer groups, open houses and information seminars, and our plans for making personal contacts with prospective buyers, lenders, and other agribusiness professionals. Finally, in the report you will find our proposed commission and fees, along with any other expenses that you might have as part of the transaction. Despite what some people may suggest, there is no standard fee in the industry for selling a farm. However, like most things in life, you often get what you pay for, so the firm that's charging the cheapest fee is probably not offering the best service for selling your high-dollar asset. After the owner has reviewed our marketing proposal, we try and answer any questions that they might have. If they are ready to move forward with a sale, we sign a written contract that outlines the responsibilities of both parties. Once the contract is signed, Loranda begins executing the marketing plan. Implementing an effective real estate promotional campaign may seem easy on the surface, but often it's not. You must understand the habits of your targeted buyers and then determine what type of advertising outlet they use on a regular basis. For example, an older person living close to a farm may rely on the local newspaper and a for sale sign as their source of information regarding available properties. For others, it may be a regional ag publication or an internet website. Regardless, you must create and time your message in such a way that a prospective buyer will see it and then ultimately be motivated to learn more. Following are a few of the more popular outlets that Loranda utilizes when promoting a property, along with some general thoughts to keep in mind. Media advertisements. Newspapers and magazines fall into this category. Just randomly placing an ad may not be effective. You need to know what day is most popular, as well as what heading the ad should be placed in order for prospective land buyers to see it. In addition, you have to decide if you will be using display ads or line ads or a combination of both. Signage. The sign should be visible for anyone driving by the farm. If the road is not well traveled, then a directional sign off a main thoroughfare can help. Finally, you need to check on the sign occasionally to make sure that it hasn't fallen over or been taken. The brochure. This is probably the most important promotional item that can be used. It should contain nearly all the relevant data pertaining to the property and be designed in such a way that it is both attractive and informative. The Internet. Websites that focus on agricultural properties have become the best way to reach absentee investors. These buyers don't normally have a specific geographic preference, so they regularly visit real estate sites to try and see what might be for sale in the different regions. Press releases. If you have a property with a story that might be of interest to the public, distributing a press release to local and regional newspapers can attract attention for no cost. This interest may be a result of the unique features of the acreage, or may focus on the history of the owners or prior use of the land. Targeted mailings. Sending property information to a pre-sorted group of prospective buyers can be an extremely cost-effective way of reaching the target groups that you have selected. These mailings can be to neighboring landowners, absentee investors who have been active in the marketplace, or special interest buyers who are looking for a particular kind of property, such as a horse farm or a hunting retreat. Prospective buyer contacts. Some real estate firms believe that a newspaper advertisement and a sign can sell a farm, and in rare cases, that may be all you need. In our experience, it takes personalized contacts with prospective buyers. If you can make a buyer feel that he's important, which a phone call, email, or one-on-one visit can do, that he's more likely to at least look at what you're offering. We also like to call on local lenders and agribusiness professionals to learn about who may have the interest and capacity to purchase land. This group of contacts can be invaluable as they often know the most about what's happening in the local market area. In addition to implementing the advertising steps mentioned above, there are several other tasks involved in this marketing phase, and we consider communicating with the client at the top of the list. Sometimes a property doesn't sell as quickly as we hope or expect, but it's still important to keep the seller apprised of our activities. A lack of regular communication is often translated as a lack of effort, which should not be the case. Completing other tasks at this stage can be quite important in order to ensure a smooth closing as well. Examples would include ordering the preliminary title commitment to see if there are any issues that need to be addressed, securing bids and ordering services from any outside vendors such as surveyors or inspection companies, and working with an attorney to review any offers. Once an acceptable offer has been agreed to, then we move to phase 4 of the marketing system, or closing the transaction. At this point, many firms simply turn the closing over to the title company or an attorney. In other words, they think that the signed contract ends their obligations. As mentioned previously, Loranda believes in offering a complete service that doesn't end until the owner has his sale proceeds. In many cases, closing the transaction is often the most difficult part of the deal, as there are so many issues to address. Can an attorney handle all these issues? Absolutely, but they will charge for all the time they spend, even if the task is not of a legal nature. Loranda, on the other hand, has the advantage of knowing all the parties that will play a role in the transaction and knowing everything that needs to be done. By helping coordinate all the tasks, we can make sure that all things get done on a timely basis. Though some closings are fairly straightforward, following is a list of typical items that must be addressed. Secure and deposit the earnest money. Engage a surveyor if necessary. Order the title commitment. Forward a copy of the purchase contract to the title company. Update and address any concerns of the attorneys. Contact the buyer's lender. Review the final survey plats. Send the final legal descriptions to the title company. Order the deed. Send copies of the survey to all the parties. Set a preliminary closing date. Calculate any tax prorations and allocations for the closing statement. Forward all closing statement expenses to the title company. Review the preliminary closing statement. confirm closing date and time with all parties, confirm any non-closing statement expenses that need to be paid, such as tenant reimbursements, review the final closing statement, confirm that the deed and all closing documents have been sent to the seller for signature, forward the earnest money to the title company, confirm where the closing proceeds are to be sent, and finally attend closing and verify that the proceeds and copies of the closing documents have been sent to the client. After the closing has been completed, we will contact the seller to see how satisfied they've been with our work. We encourage and appreciate any feedback so that we can continue to improve our services for the future. I hope you've enjoyed our presentation and have learned about our unique, comprehensive approach to selling land. As mentioned previously, Loranda has several educational videos addressing a variety of topics on our YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. If you ever have any questions about the farmland market, just let us know. Thanks for stopping by today.